$10 vanished before lunch yesterday. Today, it can start working quietly. The difference looks smaller than it is. That is where the story gets strange. $10 feels almost meaningless alone. It becomes coffee without much thought. It becomes delivery fees and snacks. It becomes another forgotten monthly charge. Then the month ends feeling heavier. You wonder where everything went again. But money usually disappears through tiny doors. Big financial pain often enters quietly. So imagine catching one tiny leak. Not every leak in your life. Just one $10 decision daily. That sounds too small to matter. And that belief protects the problem. Small money is still real money. Small choices still choose a direction. Direction matters more than drama here. Picture $10 as a seed. Spending eats the seed immediately. Saving keeps the seed in storage. Investing places it into soil. At first, nothing impressive happens outside. That silence makes people quit early. But underground, roots are becoming structure. The first lesson is boring patience. And boredom is surprisingly profitable sometimes. One day gives you $10. 1 week gives you $70. 1 month gives you about $300. 1 year gives you $3,600. That is before growth joins in. Growth is the invisible second worker. You bring the daily $10. The market brings uncertainty and time. Together, they build unevenly, then powerfully. But the uneven part scares beginners. Some days your balance falls backward. Some headlines make everything feel foolish. Some months reward you with nothing. That is not failure yet. That is the entrance fee. Investing is not a vending machine. It is more like farming weather. You control planting, not every cloud. You control consistency, not every season. This is why automation matters deeply. Automatic investing removes daily negotiation entirely. The money leaves before excuses arrive. Your future gets paid first quietly. Then life adjusts around what remains. That sounds restrictive at first, but it can feel freeing later. Because fewer decisions mean fewer failures. Now comes the part people underestimate. Compounding does not move in straight lines. It begins like a sleepy staircase. Then it starts bending upward slowly. Then the curve becomes the story. A dollar earns a tiny return. That return can earn returns too. Then those returns invite more returns. It feels almost silly when explained. But silly math changes actual lives. After 5 years, habit is visible. After 10 years, momentum feels real. After 20 years, time matters more. After 30 years, discipline looks brilliant. The daily amount never became glamorous. The calendar made it powerful instead. That is the uncomfortable truth. Most people chase impressive financial moves. They want perfect timing and secrets. They want one dramatic winning decision. But ordinary repetition beats dramatic guessing often. A boring plan survives normal life. Normal life is the actual battlefield. Bills arrive when motivation is low. Friends invite you out unexpectedly. Prices rise without asking permission. Your mood changes your spending rules. A simple habit protects you then. $10 becomes a vote daily. It says tomorrow deserves attention too. That identity shift matters enormously. You stop being someone who reacts. You become someone who builds first. And builders notice different opportunities everywhere. They ask whether purchases match values. They ask whether comfort is expensive. They ask whether waiting is wiser. These questions quietly change behavior. Nobody sees that part online. There is no flashy screenshot for restraint. But restraint is often the engine. Now we need honesty about risk. Investing can lose money temporarily. Sometimes temporarily feels painfully long. A bad year can test everyone. A crash can make discipline feel stupid. That is why emergency savings matter. If rent money is invested, fear wins. If grocery money is invested, stress wins. Investment money needs breathing room. Otherwise, you sell at terrible moments. The plan must survive bad timing. Low-cost broad funds help here. They avoid guessing single company futures. They spread risk across many businesses. They make progress less dependent on luck. Fees also deserve suspicion. A small fee sounds harmless today. Over decades, it becomes a thief. It steals from every future return. So boring and cheap can win. That phrase sounds almost insulting. But finance rewards boring more often. The exciting path invites expensive mistakes. The boring path invites staying power. Here is another hidden benefit. $10 trains emotional distance. You learn markets can move wildly. You learn not every drop matters. You learn patience before stakes grow. That education is worth money itself. Starting small lets mistakes stay small. Waiting for perfect confidence delays everything. Confidence often arrives after action. It rarely arrives before action. So what actually happens over time? At first, almost nothing visible. Then a small account becomes familiar. Then growth begins adding its voice. Then the habit feels normal. Then stopping feels stranger than continuing. That is when the system changes you. You are no longer chasing motivation. You are living inside a structure. Structure beats motivation on tired days. And tired days decide many lives. The final number depends on returns. It depends on years and fees. It depends on staying invested. But the exact number is secondary. The deeper result is ownership. You own a piece of tomorrow. You own proof that choices compound. You own patience in visible form. $10 will not save everything. It will not solve every problem. But it can change your posture. From waiting to building. From hoping to choosing. From small comfort to future power. That is the real miracle here. Tiny money becomes a larger person. And quiet choices become loud later. But loud later is not magic. It is math meeting behavior. Behavior is the harder ingredient. Anyone can calculate a projection. Fewer people can protect a habit. That is why $10 matters. It is small enough to start. It is serious enough to teach. It asks one question daily. Are you funding impulse or freedom? The answer changes slowly, then suddenly. Now imagine two ordinary mornings. In one, $10 disappears. Nothing terrible happens right away. In another, $10 gets invested. Nothing amazing happens right away. That is the tricky part. Both mornings feel almost identical, but one creates an asset. The other creates a memory. Memories can be wonderful, but most purchases become invisible fast. Assets keep reporting for duty. They may stumble for months. They may shrink during crashes, yet they still represent ownership. Ownership changes your financial gravity. Suddenly, companies work partly for you. Stores, banks, factories, software firms, they become more than headlines. They become small pieces you own. That idea feels strange at first. It should feel strange. Most people only meet companies as customers. Investing lets them meet as owners. Ownership does not make you rich instantly. It does something quieter first. It makes the future feel personal. When the future feels personal, choices sharpen. The extra dessert has a cost. The unused subscription has a cost. The bored shopping scroll has a cost. Not because joy is wrong. Joy matters deeply in real life. But unconscious spending deserves a receipt. Investing writes that receipt clearly. It shows what else was possible. This is where guilt can mislead. The point is not punishment. The point is awareness. $10 can buy relief today. Sometimes that relief is worth it. Sometimes it is only distraction. Learning the difference is wealth training. Your account becomes a mirror. It reflects priorities without speeches. That mirror can feel uncomfortable, but discomfort often precedes control. Control is not about perfection. It is about fewer blind spots. Blind spots are expensive over decades. A missed day will not ruin you. A missed month will not ruin you. But a missed identity can. If investing remains optional, excuses win. If investing becomes normal, friction falls. Normal is stronger than intense. Intensity burns bright, then vanishes. Normal survives boring Tuesdays. That is where fortunes quietly begin. They begin in ordinary calendars. They begin before anyone claps. They begin while nothing looks impressive. This is also why comparison hurts. Someone online always started earlier. Someone else always invested more. Another person always caught luck. Comparison makes your $10 feel tiny, but your life uses your timeline. Your bills use your timeline. Your future uses your timeline. So your habit must serve you. A slow start still counts. A small account still counts. A simple plan still counts. The danger is waiting for drama. Drama feels productive, but often delays. People wait for a raise. They wait for debts to vanish. They wait for the perfect app. They wait for total certainty. Meanwhile, time keeps charging rent. Time never pauses for confidence. That sounds harsh, but useful. Because the solution can be tiny. Start where your life actually is, not where pride wants it, not where influencers pretend it is. $10 respects reality. It does not require a transformation. It requires a repeated doorway. Walk through it enough times. The room behind it changes. At first, you notice balances, then you notice habits, then you notice beliefs. Beliefs are the deepest compounders. If you believe money always escapes, you stop trying to direct it. If you believe small actions matter, you start looking for leverage. Leverage appears in surprising places. Cooking once can fund tomorrow. Negotiating one bill can fund weeks. Avoiding one impulse can fund months. None of this feels heroic. That is why it works. Heroic plans need heroic moods. Quiet systems need only repetition. Repetition turns intention into evidence. Evidence changes what you expect. Once expectations change, behavior follows. Then investing becomes less mysterious. The market still stays uncertain, but your role becomes clear. You are not predicting every turn. You are buying participation over time. Participation beats prediction for most people. That sentence is worth remembering. Prediction makes you stare at noise. Participation makes you collect time. Noise feels urgent every morning. Time feels quiet until later. Later is when the reveal happens. The first 1,000 feels slow. The next 1,000 feels possible. The next 10,000 feels different. Not because you became lucky, because the system finally has weight. Weight attracts more serious choices. You protect what you have built. You notice fees faster. You question panic faster. You recover from mistakes faster. This is the hidden snowball. Money compounds, but skill compounds too. Confidence compounds after surviving uncertainty. Patience compounds after being rewarded. Restraint compounds after proving useful. That mix becomes financial character. Character is rarely shown in screenshots, but it appears during market drops. It appears during tempting sales. It appears when friends upgrade everything. It appears when boredom asks for spending. $10 trained those moments early. That training may matter most, because bigger income magnifies existing habits. If spending controls small money, it often controls bigger money. If structure guides small money, it can guide bigger money. So $10 is a rehearsal for raises, a rehearsal for bonuses, a rehearsal for unexpected windfalls. Without rehearsal, more money leaks faster. With rehearsal, more money gains direction. Direction is the quiet advantage. Now let us answer honestly. Will $10 daily guarantee wealth? No guarantee exists in investing. Returns change, life interrupts, markets disappoint. But guarantees are the wrong lens. The better question is simpler. What happens if you never begin? Nothing compounds except regret. What happens if you begin small? More possibilities start compounding. That is a real difference. It may not look cinematic. It may not impress strangers. It may not fix everything, but it gives tomorrow a claim. Tomorrow stops being a vague hope. It becomes a line in today. That line says, I am building. Not someday, not perfectly, today. And today is always the doorway. The payoff is not only money. The payoff is becoming dependable. Dependable with small promises. Dependable when results are invisible. Dependable before anyone notices. That is how small investing grows. First, it grows an account. Then it grows a person. Finally, it grows a future. $10 is not the hero. The daily choice is the hero. Tiny choices can purchase enormous freedom. Still, freedom needs a clearer picture. Imagine waking up 5 years later. Your life may look mostly familiar. Same commute, same kitchen, same worries. But one quiet thing has changed. There is money that remembers you. Money from mornings you barely noticed. Money from cravings you let pass. Money from discipline nobody applauded. That account becomes a private witness. It says you were serious. Not loud, not perfect, serious. That seriousness creates emotional room. A surprise bill feels less final. A layoff feels less like disaster. A dream feels less ridiculous. Options are what money quietly buys. Not yachts, not bragging, options. Options mean saying no sooner. Options mean leaving bad situations faster. Options mean helping without panic. Options mean resting without shame. That is why the number matters. But the feeling matters too. The feeling is not greed. It is having a longer reach. Your present hand touches future days. Future days answer back with choices. That relationship changes how life feels. You stop begging luck for rescue. You start building backup quietly. Backup is boring until needed. Then boring becomes beautiful. This is the payoff people miss. Investing is not only accumulation. It is reducing future desperation. Desperation makes every option expensive. Calm makes better decisions possible. $10 daily can buy calm. Not all at once. Not without risk or patience. But piece by piece. That phrase matters most. Piece by piece beats fantasy. Piece by piece beats panic. Piece by piece beats regret. The world rewards giant stories. Your life rewards repeatable actions. A tiny automatic transfer seems invisible, but invisibility is its strength. It works while attention is elsewhere. It works during busy weeks. It works when motivation sleeps. It works because you decided once, then time keeps remembering for you. That is the secret hiding here. You are not buying stocks only. You are buying a promise. A promise that tomorrow counts. A promise that small is enough. A promise that delay is costly. A promise that you can begin. Maybe $10 feels unimpressive today. That is exactly why it works. It sneaks beneath your fear. It enters before pride objects. It stays long enough to matter. And one day, the tiny choice looks back at your old doubts. Small money became serious freedom. That is the strange ending. The dollars were never very dramatic. The habit was doing the heavy lifting. It carried patience through noisy days. It carried courage through uncertain months. It carried proof through ordinary mornings. The balance mattered, but so did trust. Trust that small actions are real. Trust that waiting can be active. Trust that future you is present. So $10 is not tiny. It is a daily conversation between comfort now and freedom later. Keep choosing long enough and suddenly, $10 sounds like a beginning. That beginning can quietly change your whole life. Thanks for watching. Check my other videos on other interesting topics. See you